So a lot of soccer going on in my life right now, and it brings thoughts up. One is the World Cup and everything that goes along with that, being in our country and in our continent. It's been freaking awesome. What a great World Cup. High school kick-arounds have started. Kids are around the soccer field. So there's just soccer is kind of building more and more. A lot of clients play soccer. They're going back to schools. Kids are out for summer, looking to train more. You got a lot of soccer going on in my life. So what I thought there, I would imagine. I don't really watch news. I don't listen to the pundits or kind of the fluff stuff that just kind of keeps you occupied, but doesn't really provide a lot for me. It's just more kind of like I'd rather listen to something right now, so I'll listen. But I can imagine that with the USA losing in the round of 16 and losing handedly, getting slapped in the face, a lot of people are probably talking about that. And I think it was a very successful tournament for the United States. I was pleasantly surprised. I did not think it would go that well. Bringing in a big name European coach, just the structure of our national team and the structure of our country and how little we are doing to develop players, like to do great in your group stage and move on with a game in hand. That's progress for us, and I think it's great progress. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to talk about what's wrong, and it's not all like I would assume most of it's right. Like you could go into the business model. You could go into the people that we let into the sport. We could go into the standards for coaching. We could go into the lack of standards, which is the more reality. We could look into the lack of oversight at most of the clubs on what product they're producing. We can look at the lack of standards for upholding licensing for soccer coaches. There is nothing. Just get it and I got it. And most people are doing it to get a bigger paycheck, not to help kids more. There's a lot that we could do. There's a lot we could talk about there. But I think everyone's probably beating that like a dead horse. So my thoughts go towards, okay, how do we beat a Belgium? Like I watched that World Cup from the U.S. perspective. It was like we were a JV team that beat a bunch of JV teams, and we just met a varsity team in the quarterfinal and got slapped, or round of 16 and got slapped. And that was a varsity squad. That was I think the announcer said they finally met a big boy squad, and I was just kind of thinking more along the lines of how we structure our country, and our country is academic based. Like if you want a pathway, we've got it. It's an academic pathway. Kindergarten or preschool, kindergarten, K through 5 is elementary school, 6 through 8 is middle school, 9 through 12 is high school. Then you've got 4 years of college. You can slap a 1-year master's, 2-year master's, 2-year PhD doctorate, whatever of the sort on top of that. There's like that's our system, but soccer doesn't mimic that system, and I think that is probably the long term for us competing at that stage. Like we're an interesting country that we're bigger than most. We have more resources, more money available, yet we can't wrap our heads around how to develop a team sport that is so fluid and dynamic like soccer. Like a coach is a big deal in football. Baseball is a play-by-play type of thing. Hockey, definitely some flow, but really not our sport. It's more northern sport. So soccer kind of being a unique sport in this country, I think that structuring it based on how our country operates would probably be a really good idea. So what would that look like right now? You do not play, so this is coming from the state that I'm in. I would say it is a very low state in the quality of producing soccer players. A little bit about me. I grew up in Oregon. I played Oregon youth soccer. I loved soccer. It was really the only thing that I really cared about. It was the thing that I did on my own. I wasn't good at doing things on my own. I didn't know how much to work. That'll be a conversation for another day and most likely geared for parents. If you have a gung-ho kid, how do you support that? And the thought that came to mind there is one of the higher statistic rates of a pro athlete is coming from pro athlete parents. I don't think it's genetic. I think the pro athlete parent understood actually how much work it takes to get to be top 1% in any sport. It's a lot of work. It's a lot of sacrifice. And most families, most kids don't go to that level of sacrifice. They want their vacations. They want all the other things. They want all the other sports. And again, I'm not here to judge. I think that's great. But if you have that kid that's like, man, they just want to play soccer, what do I do? Or they just want to play any sport, what do I do? Submerge them in it. Find ways for them to play it every day. Like that stuff goes a long way. Like other countries, like that's a big reason why they have a lot of talent coming out of it, is because their kids, like that's the option. I after school, I'm in the street playing with friends, and I get home for dinner. So we just don't have the same culture as a lot of the top level countries when it comes to this sport. So I think that we need to reinvent it. Go. Sorry, I'm a bit all over the place again. Um, I came from youth soccer in the state of Oregon. I would say Oregon is in the bottom third of quality when it comes to states in youth soccer. I was coaching and submerged into Southwest Conference back in the DA days when U.S. Soccer actually tried to run a league countrywide in hopes that we're getting better players into the national team pool. So there were ID camps for national teams. I was in San Diego, so Chula Vista Training Center was right there. So we actually brought some of our club teams to play against national teams as they prepared for things. Lots of our kids went to national ID camps. We had national team scouts at our matches and showcases. So I would look at that as like San Diego, the Southwest Conference. That was the number one conference in the country at the time, and it is soccer mecca. I had no idea. I played in Oregon. I wanted to go as far as I could. I made it to D3 college. I played D3 college ball, and I broke, and that was it. I started goalkeeper coaching at my alma mater. I jumped to another school for goalkeeping and assistant coach, and then I left soccer behind. I moved to San Diego. I was a strength and conditioning coach, and soccer was just kind of it was on the side. I tried to play a little bit, but it just wasn't a good dynamic. Like there wasn't a team. It was kind of a pool of players that would just randomly show up. I didn't like that. Just like, oh, that guy we did great last week with this team, and then it's like two of the same guys the next week. So I didn't like the lack of team aspect. And then I saw a grown man slap another man on the field. That was a first in 18 years of playing the sport. And then we were up 1-0. I came out as a goalkeeper on a ball, picked it up, and literally had enough time to watch a guy try and slide tackle, like I'm holding the ball, slide tackle, see the bottom of his boot, move out of the way, and as soon as he stopped next to my feet, I looked at him and went, "Do you not have to work tomorrow? What are you doing?" Like he just deliberately tried to hurt me. He goes, "We're down 1-0." I went, in a men's league game that doesn't matter. But he needed, that was a big part of his weekend, was needing to win his men's league match. Who knows how terrible his life is if that's what you have to do. But that was it for me. Like I moved to San Diego, tried to play, and went, I don't like this. I really liked the team dynamic. I loved the idea of putting together an effort with the boys and seeing a result on the table. Like that was why I loved playing the sport, and I loved the amount of responsibility I had as a goalkeeper. If I make a mistake, we could lose today. I liked that pressure. I liked it being on me, not on someone else. So that was why I played the sport, and I left it. I tried to play in San Diego. Then I finished this education in applied neurology and went, what do I want to do with this? This is game changing. This is life changing stuff. Like I could work with anyone with a brain. So who do I want to work with? I thought, oh, chronic pain, like they need so much help and it's all brain derived. I could work with chronic pain. That's exhausting. Like kudos to my colleagues working with chronic pain clients. Like, boy, it is a task sometimes. So I went, man, I'm not going to pursue chronic pain clients. Like I was a chronic pain person. it just kind of brings me back to that. It's not like a give on type of thing. Like, oh, I got myself out of chronic pain. Let me go get everybody else out of chronic pain. I just didn't have that motivation. I was thinking I could work with musicians because what a cool brain, or artists. What really cool brains to work with. If I can help them play their instrument better, play it better over a period of time. I mean, look at people on tour. To maintain a high level quality performance is tough when you are a musician on the road. I could help them play better, break down less. Again, wasn't something that was getting me up in the morning, and it was like, oh man, I need to think about this. So I was on a walk in San Diego on the dog beach with my dog. Just what do I want to do? Like, I'm a strength and conditioning coach right now. I've got private clients. I'm working with a golf pro and some of his golfers. And I'm like, what do I want to do with this? And it just kind of dawned on me. It was like, I'm not in soccer. Like, I was in soccer for my entire life, played college, was coaching post college, moved to San Diego, and it just kind of dissipated. And I was like, man, that's who I need to give this to. That's me. Like, I would have loved to have had some of this stuff when I was an active soccer player. Like, like a lot of head injuries, a lot of aches and pains, performance questions. How do I get better at that? A lot of questions. And man, now I've got a ton of options to explore to help soccer players. So I got to get back in. So really, I played, and then I paused, and then I started in the development academy, which is now MLS Next. But I didn't know what I got into. There was the one club in the greater San Diego area that got back to me. I sent an email to everybody, and this one got back and said, hey, yeah, when it's all about opportunity and timing, and right now I need a goalkeeper coach. And I went, great. I really want to do this sports performance stuff, but I kind of went, I didn't know about it before learning it for 4 years. This is all new stuff. No one is doing this. No one knows, like, the standard and recommendations are not what I bring to the table. I would look at what I bring to the table as better in an evolution, but it's not common. It's not known. So to try and get hired as a neuroathletic sports performance coach right now, brutal. No one knows that you need to train your eyes and your inner ear and decision making, and that ultimately those are paramount in comparison to everything that we're doing for our bodies. Like, it is the limiting factor, so why not go to the limiting factor versus just hope that limiting factor doesn't keep you from all the work you're trying to do with your body? So I saw goalkeeping as kind of a segue just to get my foot in the door. So I went, great, I'm interested. Like, keep in mind, I'm a sports performance coach too, but I'm interested. So he just had me out. He's like, hey, show up at this field at this time, work with goalkeepers, we'll go from there. So I ran a session. And end of that session, one of the goalkeepers went up to the CEO and went, hey, we think that he can help us. So then it was great. Come sit down, let's chat. Let's see where do we go from here? And the CEO just said, hey, what's your goal? I went, I want to make the best goalkeeper program in the nation. And he goes, I want that. I'll go get you gear. And that was it. We started. And that led to, I saw a kid in the club gear in the local town that I was living in. And I went, hey, I work for that club now. It's like 2 weeks in. And I was like, I've never seen you at soccer practice. Like, what team are you on? He goes, what do you mean? What team am I on? I was like, well, like, what age group? He goes, I'm a 2005 or whatever at the time. And I went, yeah, I work with 2005s. Like, why don't I ever see you? He goes, well, what team are you with? I went, I don't know. Again, my experience was youth soccer in Oregon, where you were lucky to have 2 teams. And then, again, this is a different time too. Like, this is a long time ago. So but that's what I knew. It's like an A and a B team. So, like, I didn't know anything about the job I took. So I went, oh, I don't know. Like, what are there? He goes, well, like, I play in the NPL. I went, okay, no, it's not that. So that makes sense why, like, how many teams are in the NPL? He goes, well, I'm on the second team and there's three. I went, okay, there's three teams in this 2005 age group that I don't know about. And he goes, there's one called the DA. And I went, yeah, that's where I'm in. Like, I remember the patch and the balls. They had DA, USSF on them, stuff like that. And I went, yeah, that's what I'm in. He goes, yeah, that's the top level in the country. I went, really? Cool. Like, I'm operating as a goalkeeper coach in the top level in the country right now. And then find out that the Southwest Conference is the number one conference in the country. And it was a blast. 3 years, and I developed into goalkeeper coach for the academy and sports performance coach for the academy, and I had a blast. Uh, I would work with the goalkeepers, and then I would run sports performance work. Like, all of the warm ups were updated to neuro updates, cool downs. I had my own Monday, so I trained them in sports performance work on Mondays on my own, every team. We worked on skill development. How are you running? How are you cutting? How are you stopping? How are you using your eyes? How are you using your head? How are you moving your head? How are you moving your body? How are you breathing? We covered a lot of awesome stuff. So that was my reintroduction into soccer. I was there for 3 years. Boom, pandemic hit. So that's what I thought youth soccer was, and unfortunately, that was the pinnacle of youth soccer. So the pandemic kind of made me start thinking and go, man, so many unknowns. I barely see my parents as it is living in San Diego. I thought they were going to move down, so I was just kind of beating them to the punch. They decided never to move down, so now they are in Oregon. I am in San Diego. And, seeing them once or twice a year during the pandemic, I was like, man, if I stay here and this continues, I'm going to see my parents maybe like under a two handfuls of fingers for the rest of their lives. I don't know if I'm all right with that. But I also wasn't all right from moving from San Diego back to where I grew up. I left for a reason. But there's a small mountain town, and I went, ooh, I love that mountain town. So maybe I'll take a pit stop. I'll spend my time in this mountain town. And it became very apparent that, oh, this is closer to what I experienced growing up 20 years ago than anything that I just experienced in San Diego. And ultimately, it led to just absolute frustration, anger, irritation, being upset. I had no idea what was going on. Like, here are a group of athletes that have phenomenal potential. Phenomenal. But it was not supported. It was like, I just didn't understand at the time what was going on. But ultimately, in this state, really development is by chance. I run soccer practice. We put them into a league. They play that league. If they work out, they work out. I saw and I learned how important coaching was in San Diego. That here are full-time professionals focused on getting their kids to the next level, getting their kids to the top of the league, getting their kids to just, hey, let's set the bar way up here. And in our academy, that was the mindset. Set the bar here, so if you fall short, at least you end up here. In that small mountain town, there was no bar set. So many kids didn't meet that no low bar and ended up almost worse for it. Just like kids that weren't having fun playing the sport, kids that were upset with each other, kids that didn't understand anything about being a part of something bigger than yourself. They'd leave their trash everywhere. Older kids were stealing the younger kids' soccer balls. Kids weren't showing up at practices. Kids weren't going to games. Like, I'm going, what is this? Come to find out, there are groups of people out there that need jobs. And I can't blame them. Like, don't get me wrong, I was very upset moving to that mountain town and finding out how little was done to support these kids. Very upset. Like so frustrating because I think it is like I got into it to develop players. That was all I was thinking about was where can I give this education back? But that's not everybody. And this was a big lesson for me to learn if it's you can't change people. All you can do is work with yourself. So instead of trying to change this whole thing, I just needed to leave. Realize very quickly, oh, this isn't ever going to be something for me because this is people want jobs, people need jobs, and they found a way to be outside, work 3 to 4 hours a day, and like go to the mountain whenever they wanted, go to their favorite restaurant whenever they wanted, have their friend groups whenever they wanted. Like there wasn't a focus on the work. There wasn't a focus on the responsibility and obligation if you to work with kids. So I finished my first season there. It was actually a great season. They don't hire sports performance coaches in these lesser states, so it was that sounds great, but we don't hire those. We don't have those. So you need to be a head coach. It's the only way for it to work in Oregon is you got to head coach a certain amount of teams, and you have a director role of some sort. Those director roles are kind of smoke and mirror, barely paid attention to, certainly not developed and challenging themselves. It's more of that's how I got the full-time paycheck. That's how I got the health benefits. I have that I do as little as I possibly can and try and stay away from it. And then I just coach 2, 3, or 4 teams. Not a bad day. Like I'm free all day till like 4, and I'm out of there by 8:30 at the latest. And if I'm a director, I will put myself at the start of the night any which way. Doesn't matter what age group I've got, so that I'm off the field by 6:37. And that's how it went in that mountain town. So I got it. I got an age group, 2 teams, a first team and a second team, and we had a great time. This is in the middle of the pandemic. The club decided that we're not going to play in a league. It was much more for them to not have to travel over 3 hours over a mountain pass, take a break. I get it. Again, if this is just a job to you, it can get hard. Like if you're doing 6-hour round trips for a game and you're on a soccer field 4 nights a week until 8:30, like if you don't like doing it, you're going to look for ways out of it. And that's what happened. So we had a great time. We pretty much just trained and scrimmaged each other for the entire fall. A spring season opened up. We did great in that spring season. The first team enters a second league cup. The second team enters a third league cup. And the first team won the second league cup, and the second team were runner-up in the third league cup. We had a great time. Like it was fun. The boys were buzzing. We saw this kind of collection of players, like they wanted to show up. They didn't miss games. And again, that's cultivated. That's culture. That comes from the top down. That's not a driven by kids, driven by parents thing. Like, and that I learned that there is really no club in Oregon. There are collections of teams under a badge, but they're not clubs. There's no club culture. There's no building things throughout their entire organization. What do we expect out of the little guys? How do they transition into the ages as they get older? So on and so forth. It's just not there. And that's what I grew up in. I didn't even know we had a B team. So moving back to Oregon was like this hasn't changed at all. This is pretty much what I did 20 years ago. But now I've experienced the other side of that spectrum. And I'm not saying Oregon needs to be San Diego. It's never going to be. But there are so many things to help kids that could be implemented now that aren't. And again, it's if I need a job, this is way better than McDonald's. This is way better than a 9-to-5 desk job for sure. I don't blame them anymore. Plenty of blame and pointing fingers in the past. But I try and understand because Again, everyone needs to make a living. Everyone has their I need, like, you got to support kids, you got to support mortgages. Like, I get it, but at the same time, don't work with kids. There are so many jobs out there to get. Like, I think that anyone working with kids should understand the responsibility to them. Like, if I'm an adult, I've got a lot more experience than that kid standing in front of me. So I can help them get better faster and get higher than if they were just left alone. So I thought, like, it was a not near enough paycheck for me to survive. I just thought, we're in the middle of a pandemic. I the new guy in town. So going into second year, they went, yeah, it's the same pay. I went, seriously? Like, this is like, to be a head coach in this town, you're ultimately getting like health insurance money, grocery money. Like, this isn't even a part-time job. And that, I think, is one of those foundations as to why our country needs to change directions. If you have a full-time job somewhere else, outside of sport, outside of kids, let's say it's real estate, you do a 8-hour day, 10-hour day, and then you're showing up at a kid's soccer practice for an hour and a half after work, that's why we aren't very good as a country. We don't have professional coaches. That is not a professional coach. Europe has professional coaches. A lot of clubs are starting to put some of their better, higher paid coaches with the youngest kids. In our country, in the private club sector, that's your moneymaker. Little kids, get a lot of them. And that is a big part of making sure that your club is financially stable. But it could, so ultimately we're looking at a quantity versus a quality approach to soccer players. The quantity approach is just get as many as you can and make it work. The younger ones, it's not about them being the future of your club. It's about them being the easiest to get a ton on the field, and they don't know much yet. The parents don't know. They have their first year in the club or in youth sports, whatever. The kid certainly doesn't know. So it's a great place to make sure that you are financially stable as a club. Again, I've been through the judgment phase. I've been through the anger, the irritation, the critical nature of this is wrong, and I'm working through it. I don't blame any of them. Some of the people in youth sports are still great friends. I still respect them. I just, again, just find another job. Don't put kids to this. So there's the private youth soccer world. So I'm in this mountain town. It didn't work out. I was worked there long enough to where the oldest age group had some boys at one of the local high schools, and we just got along. They were great kids. I still talk to some of them today. I was their volunteer goalkeeper coach for the pandemic season. There was nothing to play for. There was no state title, no tournament. Just play your games, check it off. But they were great. Like, they played a fantastic game. They were loose. They were free. You could tell they had fun. And I was like, okay, here's a group that didn't get this upset, angry, not enjoying the sport thing. What is going on in private youth soccer, pay to play soccer? And I was just walking off the field with the head coach after the last game of this pandemic season, and he's like, well, I'm pretty tired. I went, okay. He goes, those last 2 seasons, they really took a lot out of me, and I'm not sure I can do another one. They lost in the state final 2 years in a row before the pandemic season when they couldn't make a run at it again. So you've got 2 or 3 of these players that lost 2, couldn't do anything about it, and here they are as seniors. So this is it. So what a phenomenal program built by he was there 17, 18 years, I think. So to see, wow, like what is possible in this area, and that's what really hurt. I saw what was possible, Well, no one else did, and they operated way down here. So I thought, man, the standards and the support this could be a hotbed in the entire West region of players taken care of and and shown great opportunities. So I went, wow, this is a great group. And he goes, yeah, I'm not. I don't think I have the energy to do it. The boys like you. What do you think? I went, think about what? He goes, the head coach. And went, and at the time, again, misery at this local club. I'm coming off of cloud nine. Wow, what's possible in San Diego youth soccer? To, oh my God, I can't believe that this is so far behind youth soccer. So this was like a, yes, please. Like, I need something. Because again, I left, I had no idea that it was never going to be a paycheck that I could actually work with. So I went, well, as long as I'm here not making money, I might as well pick up this high school coaching job. And it was one of the best memories I have in the sport. My own career coaching, the boys were phenomenal. It was a family of ultimately probably 17 captains out of 22 players. Like, unbelievable. And they were just so fun to work with. They were a great dynamic group. I got to sit and just essentially just see a lot of friends playing together in the sport that I love to play and watch. And they just crushed it. Like, I introduced the neurologic stuff in the warm up and the cool downs and the recovery sessions. We went on team hikes. My goal was to make sure that they were healthy and they kept their performance here. Because as the season goes by, if you're not cognitively aware that the sport breaks you down and it will break you down over time, teams will just do this over the season and try and gain some motivation for that playoff run, that big game, whatever it is. But it's very hard to do that on a decline. So my goal was to at least keep them here, and I would love to see how I can help them do this. So a big focus on mine was, how am I building training? I want them to play a ton of soccer, 1v1 all the way to 11v11, make it unbalanced, 6v7, different size fields, different amounts of play, different amounts of rest breaks. Like, we played a ton, to the point where, like, early in the season, the captains came up and were like, we need a break from this. I went, break from what? And they're like, I don't know, like, playing this much. And I went, really? Like, this is the fun to me, but I learned a lot with this group. I went, really? Like, what do we need to do then? And they're like, I don't know, horseshoes or soccer tennis. And I learned that, most soccer environments for training are soccer activities. Yes, there's a soccer ball involved. Yes, they're using their feet. There's probably some passing and some striking and some stuff going on, but none of it looks like a match of 11v11. So that was me learning about said principle in a neurologic fashion of, we get good at what we practice. So if you want to do over the river, which is a classic soccer activity, you'll get better at over the river. But if you need to bypass a back line and score a goal, no, over the river is not going to accomplish that, because it's not that situation. So we get good at exactly what we practice, said principle. So I looked at it and went, we're going to play. We're going to play different sizes. We're going to play different numbers. Everything I want to mimic 11v11 match day. And so I learned that is a lot of work, and that takes a toll. And so now soccer activities for me are the break, which is awesome. So we train and we focus on getting better at 11s. As it gets harder, as it's wearing on, we get into soccer activities, shooting drills and crossing drills and things that don't necessarily line up with how we want to perform on match day, but they're enjoyable and all of the boys know them. So we had soccer activity days, and then we had a ton of play soccer days at different levels. So or different ways. So they march through the preseason. They march through their league. They go 6-0 in the freaking playoffs. They scored 94 goals for in a 18 game season. They conceded 11. They were number one in the state for all but 2 weeks. They beat number one in week 1, 4-2. The first goal of the season was a diving header. How fortunate, how lucky to move from San Diego and be submerged in this. They were 7th in the country by the end. They won the final 6-0. Like, tied the record for the biggest slap in Oregon history. And I got to play all 22 players, 3 goalkeepers in that final. Like, they didn't concede a goal in the playoffs. Like, unbelievable. Like, what a group. So I got that experience. But like, high school's 3-ish months out of the year. Like, I loved soccer. I wanted it to be full time like it was in San Diego. So I'm cruising LinkedIn and I see a picture of someone I knew. I was like, I know this guy. How do I know this guy? Do some stalking. When, oh, that's right, he was an assistant at Linfield when I was a goalkeeper coach. But we had different schedules, so we rarely saw each other. I was just like, I'd show up 1 or 2 days a week. He would show up 1 or 2 days a week, and they didn't match up. I was like, oh, hey, man, like, you are now the head coach in USLW. That's awesome. Congrats. Been so long. I hope you're doing great. Next message was, I need a goalkeeper coach. And went, boo, USLW? Like, pre-professional college soccer kids? I'm interested. That led to, well, the USL2 team also needs a goalkeeper coach. And I'm going, men and women, pre-professional in college? Ooh, that's exciting to think. And it's only summer, so I could stay here in this mountain town. I could keep going with the high school, and I can do that all summer. I just have to drive a lot. Man, I have to try that. I have to pursue that opportunity. So started like 3 weeks in, I'm going, oh man, like, the team is back. The culture is back. Players are there all the time. Like, just like that, just an extension of that high school season where one kid missed one practice for senior photos. Like, we were always together. And I love that part. So I'm starting to get that again in the USL world. I'm going, oh, I missed this. I missed the competition. I missed just having a collective of players that, like, they are driven. Like, the academy in San Diego was very much that. Go to the small mountain town. It wasn't promoted. It was much more the opposite. Don't play soccer all the time. They didn't think it was very good for a player to play a lot. In all reality, I think it was much more, we don't want to be here as much as it will take for you to get better. So we'll just paint it a different story. That, no, multi-sport. Like, there's plenty in multi-sport, but again, like, if you're going to get good at anything, you probably need to emphasize one. And I think there are plenty of players out there that if you build that type of an environment, they'll go, yes, please, and more, please. But if you don't, yeah, of course they're not going to show up. They're going to take other sport, or they're going to play other sports over soccer. So again, I'm back into this world going, oh man, what else? So that's exactly what I asked. I went, hey, this is 3 months. And I assumed, which was not a good assumption, don't assume, but I assumed that the club this USL was attached to must be the same. Like, they are in a very high level in comparison to the rest of the state. They must be doing something to push the envelope like they were in San Diego. And so I made the assumption and went, hey, what else? And they're like, hey, director of goalkeeping. You do, like, we're not, again, no one's hiring sports performance coaches. We don't see the point of deliberately putting someone involved with development. It's kind of, again, or I knew later, but at that time it was like, man, I know that league. I am obviously interested in goalkeeping. Okay, I have to head coach again because there's no sports performance opportunities. and it's a semi full-time salary. Like it was comparable to what I was in San Diego, and I went, I can work with this. Like I'm interested in this, so I made the jump. Like it was a miserable experience to get to. Like I had to resign from the high school. We just won a state title. The second season we lost in the semifinals. So going into year three, like it was a it was a bummer of a loss. And if I bet on anybody, I would bet on that high school winning the next season. Like I firmly believed that that next group was going to take another title, and I left it, and they did win. And I'm so happy they did. I am pumped for every one of those players and that coach. I knew it. I knew they could, and they proved me right. They crushed it. But I had to leave them, and that was hard. I love those kids, and I saw them as a no one's taking care of you. No one is giving you the standards of what's possible. I moved to that small mountain town, saw a kid, and went, "Are you interested in playing college?" He goes, "What?" I went, "Well, you're going into what, junior year?" He goes, "Yeah." I went, "Now's the time to start thinking about how am I going to find a college I want to play at." And he goes, "No one's ever said I could." And I went, "Oh, really? Hey, man, with some work, you could play in college." He goes, "Huh." And like he was great. He did very well. Another kid was like, "Hey," like he was phenomenal. It's like, "Whoa, you're an outlier in this town." I went, "Hey, are you aware of pro academies?" And he goes, "Like what?" I was like, "I don't know, Timbers Academy." He goes, "Yeah." I go, "And?" He goes, "Yeah, I was there. I didn't like it." I went, so like this was such a unique place that all it takes is putting a standard, having people that can help kids get to that standard, and this small mountain town would crush everybody around. But it's not taken care of, and the adults in the room don't want to have that skill set, and it's a job. So it is what it is. So I left this small mountain town. I'm in this club. I realized pretty quickly it's no better. Now I was in the top conference or top region in the country to one of the worst regions, or top state in the country to one of the worst states in the country. I was at one of the worst clubs in the state. Now I'm at one of the best clubs in the state. And it's not much better at all. Again, you've got to get lucky as a kid. You've got to get lucky that you get a great coach. You've got to get lucky that great coach stays. You got to get lucky that that great coach doesn't burn out because they picked up two other teams. You've got so many variables of luck that don't have to be there. And again, this is kind of leading to, well, what's the fix for our country if this is the model where I'm sure there are clubs crushing it. I know there are clubs crushing it. I went from one. But it looks like the majority are an unprofessional organization, meaning they have employees. Those employees may or may not understand how to develop children. Most of them don't. They make a paycheck. That's it. So I'm around kids. I'm with kids. I talk to kids. But the coaching being done is just telling them things. And that's not the same. Hey, be more dynamic. Hey, didn't you hear me? Keep the ball on the floor. Like, whatever's happening in a match is a direct reflection of the environment that they are training in and coming from. So if you're unhappy with a match performance, you need to look at training. And unfortunately, training environments are not great in this state. The state organization just allows pretty much anyone up unhappy with their current club experience to splinter and make a new club. So field space is at an all-time low. So you've got 3, 4, 5, 6 teams on a field. There's no way to learn the sport with that. That is babysitting with soccer balls. You've got coaches that are coaching 2, 3, 4 teams. Impossible to do well. Like, you can do it, but again, quantity or quality. Quality would say you need to focus on these 18 players if they're going to have a chance. So we need to figure out a business model that allows that to happen. but that's not it. So you have people that have full-time jobs that put on soccer gear, and it's amazing what soccer gear can do to make a normal person look like a coach. But then you just listen and you're around the training environments and you go, oh, they're not coaches. Like they're getting upset with the kids for doing the wrong thing. They're getting upset because they don't pay attention, but they stick them in lines. A lot of the soccer activities aren't even close to mimicking anything they will experience in matches. If you just took the time on the ball, it is so low in most of the club settings up here, and it's not based on development. It's we might plenty say it, but I care about action. I've been fooled now a couple times by the words of places. Next opportunity I get, if I get one, I want to see this for. I don't think you can fake it for 3 weeks. Like, show me how you're training these kids. Show me the culture that you're instilling. Show me the organization that you are putting behind these kids to support them. What are the standards? What are the ways that you are helping them reach those standards? Because it seems like most of it is just by chance, by luck. Yeah, it's worked out in the past, so we're going to expect that it works out in the future. And that's where we are. So we are just unprofessional with how we are working with our athletes. Germany leading to the 2014 World Cup slap against Brazil. That was a plan, like an absolute plan. They dumped money into professional coaches and their training centers. So they have some of the best coaches in the country working with kids from this region of the country, and it's amazing what awesome coaching can do at young ages. We don't put those coaches there. We put those coaches with our oldest age group. But you can teach everything in the sport between, let's say, 5 and 12. But we don't start teaching it until 12 or 13. It's too late. Those kids have developed so many bad habits. By the time they get to 18, 19, you won't have been able to undo them all. It's way easier to start on the right foot. And that is put people that understand development. Put people that know how to build a culture and an environment around youth or growth of youth. I haven't seen it yet. We tried in San Diego, and even there it was hard. It was hard to build culture. We didn't have locker rooms. We didn't have a home base. Like, we had a training field. The kids would roll in. It was like, how do we create a culture with this? So that was something that we all thought about a lot, and I'm sure he's doing a great job down there with what he's got. But even there, Mecca, so hard. So to not even think about it, it's going to send kids the wrong way. They're going to go look for other sports. They're going to go look for, they don't know what they want. But ultimately, it's give me standards, give me support, let me earn your respect, and give me ways to earn status. That's it. I know it seems so dumb and simple. Most people are like, it's not any different than what we're doing now. It is. It's completely different. I wouldn't be talking about it. So that's where we're at. You've got people that are not full-time in the sport, those that are supposed to be making the club that place for all of their players don't really want to do that job. They were soccer players, typically at a high level. Some have accents. A lot of them have accents. Oh, it's the world game, so with an English accent, you must be on a better path than we are. I'll say something about that in a second. So we've got ultimately shell clubs. They are only a club because they all wear the same thing. There is no internal structure for we've got a 6-year-old. What do we want them to be by 19? And how are we going to help them get there? It is it's a player market. I'm unhappy here. Go somewhere else. I'm unhappy here. Go somewhere else. Like, that's just kind of how it goes. You got to get lucky. There are no pro coaches in the youth game up here. And that's a detriment. You have people that don't care enough. That's what that means to me. You don't care enough to dive in, because the kids, it's important. And I think the World Cup is going to change this. I think it's an exciting time. Money is going to create a massive influx into this world, and it will create standards just because there's now money involved. You can't just show up and do something random with that kid anymore. You can't put together a pathway of coaches that are not coaches. They're real estate agents and salesmen and mortgage brokers and business owners and sandwich shop runners and whatever. Again, I'm not blaming you. I'm looking after the kid. What does the kid need? And I'm sorry that if you fit in that category and go, hey man, go away. The kid deserves more than we are giving them right now. So what changes? We talked about we have a model. We have a development model in our country, and it is not the European soccer development model. It is not the Spanish model. It is not the German model. They have models. This is German soccer. This is how we play it. So this is how we teach it. Spanish. This is Spanish soccer. This is how we play it. This is how we teach it. Your leagues are very similar to what your national team plays like. Our country, there's no rhyme or reason to it. Zero. We're too big. So how do you create a pathway like that in a country that is ununited in their effort? You can have a club on the east, or so just my example. You've got a club 18 hours away on the drive doing something completely different than the one that's north 18 hours. You've got 3-hour differences doing things completely different from each other. You've got East Coast, West Coast, different styles. Division 1 to Division 3 to NAIA, different. So we've got so many things. No wonder we have all of the resources. We have more potential than pretty much any country out there when it comes to how many athletes we have, how much money there is in it. That, again, positive result for our World Cup squad. It was better than ever. But there is a obvious gap between the big players and us. Like, we beat teams we should beat. But if we look at where we are as a country, we're up there with we're higher than a lot of the high-level soccer countries in the world, potential-wise. The money, the players, the support is huge in our country. So we need to go to the athletic model or academic model. Student athlete is what we produce in our country. So let's be real and use it. Why not have elementary soccer teams, elementary school soccer teams? This school plays that school. You've got a younger and an older. Why not have a middle school soccer team, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, or 6th by itself, 7th, 8th, or it's hard to go blend because now you've got an elementary school and a middle school. They start different times. So it really does need to stay in the academic world. So you have elementary soccer teams. You've got middle school soccer teams. You've got high school soccer teams. You've got a university that is drawing from a regional high school system. A little different. Now you can create an identity. Because if that college knows that they get their players from these feeder high schools, you better believe that the college should say, this is our style. This is how we play at this university. This is how we see the game. High schools, you need to play the same style. They are here in their development versus a college kid, so you need to work on these things. We already have the USSF coaching pathway. It's intelligent. No one uses it. All we have to do is use it on purpose. Not this coach uses a little bit of it. That coach just needed a higher paycheck, so he never expected to change how he coached. There's no oversight from USSF. There's no making sure that people are coaching up to the standard that they set. It's out there. We don't have to reinvent the wheel. We need to use it. So you've got your USSF player development pathway. Make it work. Put it into live action. It's words on a page. It's hours of in-person and video and assignments and whatever that don't lead to a coach doing anything different with it. So we just use that development pathway. It's smart. It's intelligent. There's a lot of smart people involved in it. So your college pulls from these high schools. Your high school pulls from these middle schools. Your middle schools pull from these elementary schools. You've got pathway potential. Just like Europe, but in our way. You don't have student athletes over there. You have, I'm going to try and be an athlete as long as I possibly can and figure it out if I don't. Or you've got athletes or students that go, yeah, I'm not in that world. I play for my school, but it's recreational. It's intramural in our system. It's club in our college system. It's not collegiate. So we say, no, we want both. So we need to use both. We can't say, if we're not willing to say, we don't care if you're educated, pursue your sport in the academies as long as you can, get a GED and call it a day and hope you go pro. It's one way. Our way, I think, could be the best in the world. Honestly, if we like it will take a lot of work, but let's continue that. So we don't care about just ending in college. We care about a national team. So our pro environment, it's not American. It is what it is. You're going to take South Americans. You're going to find players from all over the place because we don't develop the player that well right now. So unfortunately, we can't really include MLS in this system yet because they did what they had to do. Hey, if we need to win today, of course I'm going to go get Messi. I'm not going to look for a kid in our country. And even you look at college rosters, there are a lot of non-Americans on these college rosters. And the higher you go, the less American they are. The deeper these teams go in tournaments, the less they are American. So where this leads to is now your national team says, this is how we play. We are a 4-3-3. We don't focus on possession that much. We are locked down defensively. We do not concede. We work on counterattacks, pressing, and counter-pressing. That's pretty much what we do. So let's say we want to keep that model and we want to keep it a 4-3-3 classic thing. That's a USSF. Like we had to play a 4-3-3 in the DA. And we had to play out of the back. We had to try and mimic what the national team was doing, but no unity. So, if I want to win today, and I know that we're all going to play out of the back, I'm going to press it. Even though that might not be how we want to play, I know they're going to try and play out of the back because that was a mandate by the governing body. So then it turned into, wait a second, we're trying to play out and this team just presses us. We lose it every time. We keep losing. We're ditching the play out. It just didn't work. So again, no oversight, no trickle down, just a statement from the top. Do it. Here's some licensing that we'll never follow up on. We'll never make sure that you're following. So your national team now has a identity, a culture. You know that they will draw from X colleges, universities. Those universities will play the style of our national team. They will carry the culture of our national team. We know that those colleges are going to pull from this array of high schools. The pool gets bigger and bigger, by the way. So yes, you've got one national team pool. Your college pool is a little bit bigger. Your high school pool is a little bit bigger. Middle school, bigger. Elementary school, biggest. So it fits the model that we're trying to do on make your money with the little guys. Elementary school is the biggest pool. And we're teaching them in a way that is a pathway towards our national team. That's what I've been thinking about. the pay-to-play model, the private clubs, the state-run organizations, it's a quantity game. It's how many kids can we get? How little can we shell back out? That's how I make a living. Or I can't make a lot at this one soccer job, so I pick up this soccer job, and this soccer job, and I'm barely hanging on with any of them. Again, the quality of the coaching isn't there. It could be. We have, I think, qualified individuals, but again, just like we're saying, hey, set a standard and help the kids get there, that's what every club needs to do. Set a standard for their coaches. Help them get there. Set a standard for your 14-year-olds. Help them get there. I think this World Cup is an opportunity for us to go from an unprofessional youth soccer country to a professional youth soccer country, meaning we have paid coaches. That's their living. Here's that little thing on accents and stuff. So if we are not good in comparison to the rest of the world, let's just put it as England has struggled as a national team because they said, no, thank you, we're not going to adapt in like the 50s, and they had to pay for it still because they just didn't play the modern game as it was evolving. They didn't jump on the early train. They were late adopters, so they're still dealing with it. Germany historically, England. Like everyone knows English soccer, English Premier League, like that is kind of the standard. So in England, coaching is a profession. You're not doing real estate and coaching on the side. Like coaching is a profession. It's a hard profession to get into. You have a lot of work to do. So if you're now in Oregon as an English soccer coach, for me, that means you didn't make it. I'm sorry. But if you were where coaching is a profession and you had to come to a place that it barely pays your insurance premium every month, that's a that is not a promotion. You're not going up in coaching. So that's the problem. A big problem that we have in our country is, people from other countries are coming. That's fish in a big pond that didn't make it. So if you want to be successful, find a smaller pond. That's what Europeans are doing with us right now. I didn't make it in my own country. It was too demanding. The standards were too high. I wasn't good enough at coaching. Where can I find success in coaching? Go to a smaller pond where people don't know as well. That's it. So that's where we're at right now. It's an unprofessional world where we're taking those that don't cut it, bringing it into our world of saying, make us better. And it's going to take some effort. And then you've got big pond places where people aren't cutting it, ending up in smaller ponds and feeling like a big fish. And who wouldn't? Who wouldn't want that? I feel important. It's an important thing. And again, I'm trying not to judge because it's not the point. The point is, we're not there. How do we get there? Stop with this private model where it's unregulated, unprofessional coaching, way too much work to make a living that you can't do anything with quality. Let's flip from quantity. We know it's not working. Let's flip to quality. Because at the end of the day, who deserves that? The kids. The kids deserve a quality environment to develop. They need to learn all of the life skills that come with the sport. They need to learn the sport to the best of their ability. That's why we're here. Right now, we don't have high standards. We don't know how to support anything. And it's leading to, what a great group stage, beating teams that we should absolutely beat and losing to one that we should absolutely beat. To get to a round of 16 and finally meet a soccer country. And it highlights how much work we have to do. Yes, you can make the excuses like every smaller pond does. We lost. Well, they have this. Well, if we didn't make those mistakes, foundation, we lost. We lost handedly. So if our players can't go to that environment and not make the mistakes that lead to 3 or 4 goals against, don't have the quality or the creativity to get forward and get them back, that's where we are. And if we just accept it versus make excuses for it, I think we're going to move along a lot faster. So there's my little take on the World Cup. Take the student athlete approach like we do in our country and use it. Build pathways from elementary school to middle school to high school to college, from college to our national team. Because right now, there's no rhyme or reason. You've got one club doing something completely different from another club, one college doing something completely different from another college, and then all of these players experiencing completely different soccer are coming together. And we're expecting them to become a team with values and culture that understand how to play together and go crush countries that have been doing this a lot longer and in a different way. If we're not willing to professionalize athletics, hey, you don't need to be a student. Go pursue your athletic career. We would need the athletic environments to support that. But we're not that, and we're not going to change from that. Support the student athlete. Let's build a robust system around it. There's my solution instead of just complaining about all the problems with our country.